Howdy y'all, and welcome back to I Am Abled Because I Am is Able. I just wanted to come on here and give a shout out to a movie that I just saw that I am bummed that it is the last week in theaters, but hopefully you can still see it when it comes out on streaming platforms, because it is a great movie. I literally rarely ever do this, but it is 5 stars, 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10, however you want to say that. One of the best movies that I've ever seen that dealt with some really hard topics. It definitely has some very dramatic moments, so you might need some tissue. But it also has a lot of really comic moments, a lot of surprising moments, and it deals with some very hard issues very beautifully. And I was surprised at so many different moments with how well they had to deal with these topics, these parts of life that are so hard to talk about when you're just dealing with one of them. But they dealt with like 4 pretty hard topics, and they dealt with them with class and with beauty and with grace. And lots of props to everybody involved in that movie, because not only did they deal with autism, which is known throughout the trailers, but they also deal with something that I deal with on a very personal level. It's called osteogenesis imperfecta, otherwise known as brittle bone disorder, brittle bone disease. And I have type 1. There are many different types of brittle bone disorder, and I have type 1, typically considered the lesser type of OI. And Hollywood has done a horrible job at depicting OI in general, but especially type 1. And this movie did such a beautiful, graceful job of dealing with it, and I kind of was like, did they read my journals? I mean, not 100%, but it was so touching to see them do such a sweet job of it, such an honest job of it, and how not only the characters that were living with OI themselves, but also how it affected their family. It was so sweet. And while both of those instances, every person who deals with autism or has autism and OI or OI will have a different experience within their lives, so they can't exactly give a perfect experience of what your life is going to look like or feel like. Some of the things that they actually fight through, their battles that they face, their bullying or their fears about the future or things like that, they dealt with them so preciously. And I, for one, am just so blown away by that. And on top of that, spoiler alert, so this will be about 30 seconds to a minute. You can mute it or fast forward. But they do deal with alcoholism, and they also deal with faith and how the characters really struggle through the first 2 health problems, and one kind of turns to faith and the other turns to the bottle, and the struggle through that. And instead of just being like, oh, by the way, everyone's going to be alcoholic, or by the way, it's going to be really easy to get through this, which is the typical Hollywood trope to do, they didn't go there. They actually really showed the characters' struggles without having to solve their problems for them by the end of the movie necessarily. And I just think this was one of the best done movies that had to deal with some very, very hard topics, and they did it so well. And I also really appreciated that at least 1 or 2 of those topics, they didn't solve the problem by the end of the movie like most feel like they need to do. And I really appreciate that. I am one that likes things solved by the end of the movie, I'll be honest. I'm a mystery lover. I grew up watching... Not grew up, but in high school, college, I watched Zachary Levi as Chuck. I like those kind of things. But when you have so many big topics, some of them are never going to be completely solved. And I appreciate that this movie didn't feel the need to do that. but also it still felt like there was closure enough at the end that I didn't feel like I was just left hanging. So I highly recommend watching this movie if you or your family members have ever struggled with autism or brittle bones or really any kind of health struggles. I really think this is a must-see. Now, must-see is a strong term. If you're dealing with depression right now, it is a dramatic movie, so maybe wait until you're feeling a little better about life. But it was a great movie, and I highly recommend it. Very well done. Probably one of the best that has tried to tackle any of these topics that I've seen so far. So there you go. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. I hope if you do go see it that you enjoy it as much as I did, or that at least it made you think in a good way. God bless y'all. Ciao for now. See you later. Well, technically you'll see me later. Bye!